In my last video, I talked about the Kohila dynasty, which was established by Guhadatta and ended under Raul Ratan Singh in 1303. But there was a junior branch of this family through Rana Singh or Ran Singh that survived, and actually Lakshman Singh and his son Ari Singh fought in this battle and died heroic deaths. Lakshman's only surviving son Ajay had to retreat to hills and stay there for the next few decades. He had a son named Sajjan Singh, but Ajay preferred his nephew Hammir over his son because Hammir had displayed capability by defeating local rulers in battles. Hammir, over the next years, raided the army postings of Delhi Sultanate in Mewar with the help of his supporters. It is at this time that the tribal Bhils in the area allied with Hammir. Alauddin Khilji, who captured Chittor, had posted Maldev, a Rajput ruler, to govern Mewar, and Hammir married his daughter. He later attacked Chittor in 1326 after the Khiljis were taken over by the Tughlaqs and captured it, but exactly who he fought and other details are fuzzy. Hammir's ancestors belonged to the village of Sisodia, so he assumed the title of Hammir of Sisodia, and his dynasty got to be known as Sisodiya Dynasty. His ruling title was Maharana, tracing to the Gohila ruler from whom his line branched. In 1336, Muhammad bin Tughlaq, the second ruler of the Tughlaq dynasty, marched his 70,000 men towards Mewar, and Hammir Singh defeated him at the Battle of Singoli with only 20,000 men, taking the Sultan himself prisoner of war. He released him 3 months later for a ransom of 5 million rupees and 100 elephants, because the Sultan wasn't the most competent one ever. After this battle, the Sultanate ceded Ajmer, Ranthambore, Nagaur to the Maharana. Many historians consider this battle to be the actual time around which the dynasty rose back to power instead of 1326. It was only after Hammir that these Rajput rulers became a superpower in North India. Hammir ruled this large territory for 38 years and died in 1364. His son Kshetra Singh captured Madalgarh and Bundi, completely annexed Ajmer, and defeated Amin Shah of the Malwa Sultanate at the Battle of Pakrol and inflicted heavy casualties. His death date is not completely known and can actually be as late as 1405. He was succeeded by his son Lakha Singh, who was defeated in multiple battles by Zafar Khan of Gujarat, but the territories were recovered. He built temples and shrines destroyed by Alauddin Khilji. His eldest son, Chunda, left the fort because of some misunderstandings, and his second son, Mokal, succeeded him in 1421. Mokal defeated the Sultan of Nagaur in Gujarat, and later the Sultan of Gujarat invaded Mewar. During this invasion, Mokal Singh was assassinated by his uncles, Chacha and Mira. He was succeeded by his son Kumbhkarn, more famously known as Rana Kumbha, in 1433. He had to first deal with the internal crisis. He first attacked and killed his father's assassins. After that, he captured the part lost to local rulers. Around this time, the sultans of Gujarat and Malwa were fighting with each other. Kumbha captured areas of Supatlaksh, which were ruled by a relative of the Sultan of Gujarat. So this initiated a rivalry with the Sultan of Gujarat. In 1444, the Sultan of Malwa attacked the fort of Gagron, and in the resulting battle, the Rajputs lost the fort, the women committed Johar, and Gagron was captured. Other attempts by the Sultan to capture Mandalgarh were made, but those attempts failed. After this, in the 1450s, Mahmud Khilji, the Sultan of Malwa, and Kumbha engaged in small battles in the east. Finally, in the same year, Maharana Kumbha invaded Nagaur and captured it, took its treasury. Later, this territory was given back to its ruler in exchange for pledged allegiance to the Maharana of Mewar. In 1456, the Sultan of Malwa attacked Madalgarh, taking it after 10 months of fierce battle, and the temple inside the fort was destroyed and a mosque was built over it. In 1457, Gujarat and Malwa entered into an alliance to attack Mewar, and Gujarat made two failed attempts to attack Abu and Kumbhalgarh. In the following years, both sultans tried to capture Kumbhalgarh but found it invincible. Kumbha attacked Nagaur again and captured it completely. Kumbha had constructed the Vijay Stham in Chittor to commemorate the success against the sultans, which still stands today and is an amazing visit. During the rule of Kumbha, 32 forts would be constructed, each as invincible as the Kumbhalgarh. His legendary reign was cut short by his son Uday, who assassinated him in 1468. Uday Singh, also known as Uday Hatyara or Uday the Murderer, ruled only for 5 years and was most likely killed by his brother Raimal to avenge his father's death. Under Raimal, the kingdom was attacked by the ruler of Malwa. In this battle, he was defeated badly and had to retreat. Another army of Malwa was defeated by Raimal at Madalgarh. The Sultan of Malwa captured Bundi and expelled its chief Sultan. Around this time, there was a famous prophecy that said the second son of Raimal, Sangram, should become the king instead of the elder and equally capable son Prithviraj. In the ensuing turmoil, Prithviraj was expelled from the empire, Sangram was injured and went into hiding, and Jaimal was killed by the Solankis. After the death of Raimal in 1509, Sangram was able to get the throne and become the king as Maharana Hammir Singh of Mewar, starting a new chapter for the Rajputs in India. Thanks for watching.